So you guys aren't playing Diablo 4, right?
I didn't even start because I go on.
But
Tell us, Tom, what lovely thing has Blizzard done this week?
Well, stop me if you've heard this before. They released an update for their season that, and I haven't been playing a lot recently either, but apparently it totally nerfed a lot of the classes and extended the grind. And a lot of people were complaining about, hitting around level 70, just kind of hitting a wall. And it was all in there just to push people to the monetization, of course. And there was a lot of feedback on that, and they've actually come out and said, as they've done many times before, like, oh, our bad, we didn't really realize people would not like that so much. And so they have vowed to
Mm-hmm.
kind of pull back on that a little bit. And they say they won't release a patch like that again. They're going to do a few things to kind of alleviate it, but just another one of those situations where they're just really making the experience worse once they've got you kind of hooked in. And there have been so many examples of that from Blizzard through the years.
Where do we even start?
he said it best. Like, we've seen this before. They've done this so many times already.
Like,
Honestly, it just feels silly to act even remotely. I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm just tired at this point, honestly. Like, just
and this predates even Warcraft 3 Refunded. WoW went down the crapper after Pandaria. That's when they started introducing. No, even if you didn't love maybe Pandaria or whatever before that.
Oh no, I'm just surprised you gave them that long. That's
No, because I thought Pandaria. I still think Pandaria is the best content they ever made. And the main reason for that is because they did something mind blowing. They released new content on a proper schedule on a regular basis for 2 years straight. Almost like what a certain other MMO called Final Fantasy XIV has nailed down to perfection. Every 4 months, they manage to release a new update for Mists of Pandaria with new content, new features, new dungeons, new raids. They have never been that consistent before or since. They didn't have the disasters of like a year of no content after Draenor and Shadowlands. Shadowlands actually did get some content, but the main problem was after Pandaria, they started introducing borrowed power, which is the idea that you get stats through some other path of progression. So every single expansion, you were effectively just restarting the same path again. You were just effectively starting the grind to power yourself up again. And it was designed in such a way that you had to keep grinding it or you would just fall behind. You had to get to stay within the raids, to stay in the Mythic Plus. You had to it was that toxic RP free to play idea of like ever escalating numbers that you need to keep up with to progress. And they did that for Warlords of Draenor, they did it for Legion, they did it for Shadowlands, and by Shadowlands everyone was just sick of it. They were just done. They were like, this is stupid and I'm tired of it. And they just abandoned the game to the point where Dragonflight, thank you, just got rid of all of that. They finally remembered that the reason it was called World of Warcraft is because there's a world that you can explore. It wasn't do mythic dungeons for 7 months or raids for 7 months. There's actually things to do in the world now, and like a substantial amount of content to discover there and enjoy without having to obsessively power yourself up every single day for months on end. If you're already paying a subscription, the game shouldn't be a full-time job. I can bitch about Blizzard forever, and this is what they're doing with Diablo 4. They want people to just bloody live in their game. And they don't care if it's an unhealthy amount. They don't care if 70 hours in a season pass is stupid. because they just want you to buy their shitty overpriced skins and speed ups and whatever bullshit. They can convince you horse armor. We're back to fucking horse armor again. How did we get back to horse armor? Like,
How long is a I'm sorry, I'm not as familiar with Diablo.
okay, in
4.
Diablo 4, the average to get to level 100, about 100 hours. 80
Okay,
if you're
how long is a
really
season?
smart. Yeah. If you're
How
really
long is a
smart and
season?
know how to like really manipulate it, you might get it down to 80 hours. But here's the problem, and this is what the problem with this patch is. They keep nerfing everything. Like, Tom, you can probably elaborate on this, that they keep basically nerfing power.
Yeah, they just make it harder and harder to get that level. And from what I can tell, because I haven't made it to level 70, I dropped off around level 30 or
Most people
so.
do.
But
Like, it's
yeah,
too much.
you can kind of see what the end game is going to be by that point. You can kind of tell how it's going to go. And at that point in time, they had just announced how the seasons were going to work and how you basically have to start a new character with each season. And so you just kind of sit there like, well, why am I building this one? The whole thing just left a foul taste in my mouth, and I got
You
out.
have to
Start a new character. Here's the thing. That was a thing in Diablo 3 as well, and Diablo 2, kind of. But first of all, it didn't take 100 hours. That's the kicker. You could like level up your character to max in Diablo 3 in 25 hours easily. Like,
Yeah.
and you might have got like a cute minion for it. That's about it. And they weren't selling $25 pieces of armor and fucking horse armor.
Yeah.
So
like, Rez is lost for words, legitimately.
Help me understand, because
we'll try, but we can't promise
maybe
it succeeds.
yeah. Help me be on the same footing here. So, is the only way to experience this game via like the ladder system? Is that it? Like, if you make a character, are you instantly locked into the way this whole season pass ladder thing works? Or
yes, the season pass, you have to make a new character to progress in it. So the reason they're nerfing like people's ability to level is in order that it will take more time to get through the season.
Because God forbid you get the reward for playing the game
in a reasonable time. Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
They found a way to exploit the most generous system, the battle pass. They still managed to find a way to fuck it up. And I don't know if there's going to be the ability to like speed up your leveling. Like, can you skip a level by buying 2,000 coins or whatever? Probably. Because this is Blizzard.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the business model. You create a huge frustration or pain point, and then you sell the solution.
Solution, yeah.
Create the problems. Yeah.
The real trap is that, according to Cal in the chat, the real trap is that until level 40 to 45, the level process is quite fast. After that, it really slows down. As soon as you hit 50, you need almost 22 hours of constant play to get one level. Like a Korean.
I'm sorry, what?
It's like a Korean MMO. It gets worse.
Holy crap.
The amount of experience you get from 1 to 80 is about the same amount of experience you need to get from level 80 to 100.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like, you think it can't get worse, it can. This and people's constant arguments like, oh, it's only toxic. Oh, sorry, it is toxic, but it's only cosmetic. You don't have to do it. It's like, that's not the point. This system is designed to exploit people with addictive urges that cannot control themselves, that will put unhealthy amount of hours of their life into this. And I don't care if it doesn't affect me. Stop fucking exploiting people for money. Like, Jesus Christ, just design every game like Warframe. Like, I pay 12 euros for a skin. Cool. There we go. I've got my new character.
You'll never see that, because we've seen what happened when these companies decide to sell you skins separately. They sell them to you at exorbitant prices because, God forbid, God forbid, we give you an honest system where you can just buy the stuff.
But that
Oh
doesn't make
no,
them
we
billions
have
of
to.
dollars, Rezo.
Yeah,
Right.
being honest has very rarely ever led to good business practices for these people. So fuck
And
it.
I'm so conflicted because I actually think World of Warcraft finally got it right again. You pay €15 a month, you get a fun expansion. It's the best expansion they've made since Pandaria. There's no shitty exploitation systems. You can do your raid once a week, you're done. Just like it used to be. And yet they just keep they just keep messing up with everything else. And I don't believe for a second this bullshit that they didn't intend to do it. I don't care if this, I actually wish I owned a tinfoil hat right now because I would just pop it right on my head. I have played their games long enough that this excuse is like, we didn't mean to nerf paladins. Like this was a thing like a decade and a half ago, to the point where it's actually still
personal.
it's still in their notes for like, why did you cancel your subscription? And it was like paladin, I can't remember the ability nerf. It's still there. And they all say we didn't intend to. Yes, you did. You did this because when people react poorly, you will change some things that they complained about, but not everything, so that you can still get away with the exploitive behavior that and you can tell me this is a conspiracy theory. I don't care, because these companies will do this and have been doing this for a very long time. So the burden of evidence is on the accused. It's like, it's up to them to prove to me that they're sincere. I don't need to prove that they're dishonest. They need to prove to me that they're sincere. I don't usually get... Sorry.
It doesn't help, like the Immortal, the mobile game, that has got to be one of the most predatory games ever made. And so
it
even
is the most predatory ever made. Like,
that it's Immortal, yeah, it's still, they've still learned a lot from that, and I think they're going to integrate as much of that into it as they can over time.
Mm-hmm. As much as they can get away with.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's
they
what
have...
patches like this are. They're just testing the fence, to see if they can do it.
How far they can push it. And let's not even get started on Overwatch 2. Holy fuck. What a disaster that was. We're not going to bring out the PvE content. That was the whole reason we made the sequel in the first place. Please tell me if I'm getting too heated about this. But we are going to sell it to you for $25 every 6 months as a mini piece of content that you have to pay for to keep access to. Like, oh, by the way, you also have to pay for the characters now if you miss the season pass, which also takes 60 to 70 hours to finish.
Yeah, at some point, I kind of wonder whether or not Blizzard's just taking the piss out of people.
They do it because it works. People are paying the money. It works. If people stopped doing this, they would stop doing it.
That's the thing. They make more money this way. I mean, it sucks. It's hard to blame them, though, if they can make more money this way. It's not hard to blame them when they're doing things that are immoral and, exploiting, like you said, gambling tendencies and things like that. I do think this is an industry that is going to bring some regulations down on themselves because they're not policing themselves. And games like Diablo, Immoral, as Kadrick said, that should not be allowed. There's no reason a game like that should be in the App Store, in my opinion.
I love that, like, there's countries which are just straight up, you can't sell loot boxes.
Right.
And the games just don't release there. Fine. Fine. If that's what it takes, that I don't get to play the game, fine. Hey there, folks. I know nobody wants to listen to a creator shill themselves for 90 seconds, so I'm not going to. If you enjoyed this, we do the show live every Sunday on Twitch at 6 p.m. BST. Feel free to pop over TNEQL. And if you would like to support us in making the channel bigger and helping it grow, you can also check us out on Patreon, also at TNEQL. Take care of yourselves. Stay beautiful.